Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look here at Solana, see what's going on. It's pretty much following Bitcoin still at this point as far as its current price action. So if you take a quick look here at Bitcoin, it's ramping up here to try to retest its descending trend line and effectively, rejecting out or just tentatively stalling out rather. Okay. So again, keep in mind Bitcoin has a lot of resistance between 105 and 104, that rough estimate there of 104 to 105, basically implying that we have resistance here at 243 as well, right? This has been a very consistent number for us. Something we want to pay attention to. We also got our 0.618 fibs at about 247 to 251, and that point of control just above it. So my speculation is that we're going to see some rejection coming up here in this in the relative near future here for Solana, for a potential another leg down. Okay, again, that's based on the premise that I feel Bitcoin is faking us out a little bit. It might pull back as well. Okay, so again, generally that's how that works. Keep in mind Bitcoin's establishing lower highs and still lower lows, and Solana's following suit. So those are just things you want to recognize you don't really take longs into. Okay, again, it's not best practice to do that. Not to say you can't still do it with success. Or without success, of course, because a lot of folks are doing that. In fact, we had some community members take longs from like the 225 to 240 range. So I'm super happy that that happened and you were able to do that. Just know that you're trading against the grain, and it's just generally ill-advised to do that kind of trading because you're not trading in the direction of the trend, right? Again, a lot of overextension plays can be taken care of once Bitcoin bottoms out, so to speak, off that $100,000 mark. But again, we've retested that level for quite a few times this month. This whole month has been just a consistent retest, that 102K range. So that leads me to believe that this may be the final crack in the glass there to get us down sub 100,000 for that last ditch effort before the price takes off. Okay. Again, just some things to think about. Anyways, we're not here for Bitcoin, but that's super relevant for Solana. We're going to start off with the liquidation levels first. And before we do that, actually, just hit the like button, folks. Friendly reminder, go ahead and do that every single video. Really helps grow the channel. Get this in front of more people, okay? Because again, I get a lot of great feedback, people wondering why why the channel isn't growing or there's not like a ton of views. It's mainly because you're not interacting with the videos. So anyways, thank you so much again for always doing that. If we take a look here, last 7 days, 245 is that new, resistance range, so to speak. Basically just letting us know that we got some late shorts there with high leverage at 245. These are the people probably posting online social media, showing you how awesome they think they are. Again, I recommend shorting versus taking long right now. So I totally agree with the sentiment of them being awesome at this moment. But once more, that confirmation isn't quite there yet, but I totally understand the idea or the consensus of shorting this coin. Either way you look at it here, don't use high leverage because you're just going to be another statistic. However, that is essentially a thing. That's why we see that bright red level, because there is high leverage right there at that exact moment. Okay. So they probably tried about 5 or 10 different times on the way up, finally got successful, and now they're posting online. And that's kind of how that generally works. If we take a look on the right-hand side, we can see Solana in the monthly time frame. There's two heavy concentrations. There's, of course, the 243 to 245. That's within the last 2 or 3 days worth of shorts here. Then, of course, we got previous late longs here at about 218 as well, with some medium to high leverage. Okay, low leverage 215 to 210, and super low leverage around 205. So again, depending on how close we get to those levels will help us understand what direction we're going to head. But between now and then, majority of the short-term liquidation has been swept, so there isn't like a super telling direction that we can see here. So it's actually good in a way because there's maybe less manipulation, and we might actually see some actual analysis that actually performs the way that it should. Because again, unfortunately, in the market, you hit that all reset button all the time. Again, we had that DeepSeek thing from Sunday that really affected Bitcoin a lot and traditional markets. So there's a lot of things that are kind of going on here. But either way you look at it, we can recognize that liquidation delta is tapering off. So there's a little bit less shorts in the market now, but we're still short heavy. So there's more people shorting than taking longs. All right. And that's generally how that works. At least that's with obviously with leverage. Spot bags are a different story altogether. Please understand when I analyze the charts here, I'm really not referring to spot bags. You do want to recognize too, though, that I'm starting to post and I'm getting good feedback here. Basically DCA targets for specific coins such as Solana. And just keep in mind 203, 186, and 170 are those levels. We'll cover that here in just a second, but I want to talk about open interest first and recognize that there's a lot more resistance above us than below us, okay? And what that basically just means is that when there's open interest above you or above the price, that basically just implies there's too many people underwater. We got 270. Look at that. Big old chunk of 270. These late breakout traders, never be a breakout trader, folks. it's a statistical anomaly that you're going to be successful. You're going to do it a few times, be like, oh my gosh, I am the greatest thing ever. And then of course, it instantly turns around on you, Bitcoin dumps and you're done, right? But imagine being heavy with a long at 270. Either way, 260, 255, this is like roughly the two areas there that are going to be resistances for us, because there's going to be exit liquidity when people get to that price point. They're going to want to get out of their position. It's a very common occurrence. So just keep in mind 260 to 255 is that area. And look at this here. Point of control, 255, all-time high from before. Not this all-time high, obviously. I say that sarcastically because people are like, why are you putting all-time high on the charts? This was a very notorious resistance for us for quite a while, so it's relevant. 260, also, again, a lot of confluence here with the points of control and or open interest. So just some things to be mindful of here. All right, again, do you take a trade based on that one thing? No. We're going to take a trade potentially on a myriad of factors. So we're going to look at a handful of things here and see if it's worthwhile taking a trade in either direction. Okay. Me personally, Solana's looking pretty weak, even though it is following Bitcoin fairly concurrent in a lot of ways. It does look like it wants to break down a little bit further. I don't think we're going to see anything quite below 200, but I do feel like that 200 to 210, maybe 220 range is probably likely up for up for grabs here soon. And let me explain why. First of all, daily time frame is not all doom and gloom. We're above all moving averages, still in pretty good shape in the overall sense, right? As the 20-day SMA is here about 225. The important one, the 50-day SMA, is right there at about 210. It's right there where that liquidation range is present, okay? Keep in mind there's liquidation range above the price action too, but we're slightly closer to the lower end there. Furthermore, we can see MACD is diverging here, generally letting us know we got a shift in momentum. When we double click here and quickly reference our RSIs, we can recognize we're above 50. That's actually okay, right? It's not a bad thing to be above 50. In fact, it's generally favorable, letting us know that further upside is potentially likely. Money flow index is high as well. So the only thing we really have here is like momentous indicators letting us know the price is likely to pull back. And of course, we're below the descending trend line. But from an SMA and an RSI standpoint, still in decent shape, okay? Doesn't mean you can't still find success with shorts, but it also doesn't imply that a long position is viable at this exact moment, because the smaller time frames are identifying that we have this transitionary time frame. The 4-hour time frame is a huge transitionary time frame. What that basically means here is that with us being under both moving averages here, the 50 and the 20-day SMA, we're also under 50 on the RSI, stochastic swinging down, money flow index is low. There's a lot of indications here that we have a lot of weakness, okay? So again, if the daily time frame looks very strong and the 4-hour time frame tells us it's transitioning to a bearish type of situation, then that's pretty ideal that the more 4-hour time frames we see that has this, it's going to filter into a daily time frame, right? So some people don't recognize that, from a macro perspective, we're still good, but it doesn't mean that the price action can't still waver between now and then, right? Anyways, the whole point of this is the 4-hour time frame is giving us most indications, the important indicators here to me, letting us know that further downside is more likely. Same thing here as well with stochastic and MACD. While they're swinging up and trying to converge, kind of getting stopped out here. I refer to that as an MACD-FU. Again, if you look at the previous time frames where the MACD is trying to converge, every single time it converges, the price pulls back. Okay, this is a convergence, convergence, convergence. So again, these are the breakout traders. These are the folks that are taking longs at 260 and 270. Okay. Now again, at that time, I did say, again, just to clarify, I did mention that 270 was a possibility for entry if we close above and retest that level, right? Again, generally speaking, instead of breakout trading and trying to get in right here, you wait for the price to average out above this resistance and then you take a trade, okay? So you got to recognize that if you're not breakout trading, you're going to be a little bit more successful. You're going to miss more opportunities, but you wouldn't have taken a long at that level, right? Again, you can still look very bullish in that scenario here, and then everything shifts momentum instantly, and it's all said and done. A lot of that come from Bitcoin here on Sunday night, opening very, very poorly, okay? Anyways, from a 4-hour time frame, this is not a good situation. You can see kind of how weak Solana is performing. If you take a look at this and you compare it with Bitcoin, it's pulling back a lot harder here than Bitcoin is. That leads me to believe that it could actually correct itself a lot harder soon. So I don't really like the 4-hour time frame here. It looks pretty bearish. Hourly time frame as well. This is where it differs from Bitcoin. If you take a look here, Bitcoin is confirming in a lot of ways that a long position is viable. I use quotation marks because the 4-hour time frame also is poor for Bitcoin, and we're still below descending trend, a lot of resistance. But from a smaller time frame perspective, the cloud is kind of confirming on all three areas here that we should be in good shape to take a long, right? But again, this is where the fake outs occur, because again, the liquidation delta is bearish. We got a lot of resistance above us. You don't take a long into a key level resistance. Doesn't make any sense. You wait for that to be broken first. It does require patience. I know it's not easy, but if and when you learn that over time, you'll realize it's a much more empowering thing. Either way you look at it here, the hourly time frame for Solana, which again is running moderately concurrent with Bitcoin in a lot of ways, we can see here that the lagging span is within the price action, not necessarily a good thing. Another 3 or 4 hours, the price goes sideways, we'll be below that. It's bad. Conversion line is moderately above the baseline, but showing this momentous trend is kind of discontinuing. We're also below the cloud, reinforcing resistance in this 245 to 260 range. Okay, so overall sentiment here is poor. I don't like this. Even though we have a good macro, you can have an awesome, phenomenal macro structure and still sell off by 15, 20, 30% and still be considered bullish, right? So the overall sentiment is Solana is still in good shape, being above 200. Okay, but the short term, the stronger likelihood we have right now is that 200 will probably be retested. Okay. Again, that's just what the smaller time frame is telling us. Is this going to be different this time tomorrow? Absolutely. Are you going to post a ridiculous comment down below and say how stupid it is? You're welcome to it. There are people who do it all the time. But the truth is, if you watch the entire video, you'll understand what's going on here, right? And if you just fast forward to the end and heard what I had to say there, that you got to understand that this is all about you and your journey on how to be a better trader. I hope you can learn some things from me, of course, but I can't hold your hand the entire time. And you should obviously make sure that you do this for yourself. So again, I'm just throwing it out there, just mainly because it's interesting to see how some people interpret analysis. And it's not perfect, folks. It never truly is. But if you take some time to learn here, you'll recognize that these are there's something to it, definitely. All right, anyways, I'll post a playout chart in our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Appreciate you listening to the rant once more. I do this almost every single video. Apologize in advance. Sorry, not sorry. And I hope that you did learn something. You want to learn a lot more, cryptocash.tech is a site link down below. We did have some nice profits, honestly, from that dump yesterday. XRP, we got a good 49% profit there. We also secured profits on Solana, of course. So we had a Solana short from 7 days ago, 32%. And then an AVAX long. Keep in mind, we had to close some long trades in the red, right? That's kind of just things you have to do. We canceled the Litecoin and Aave before they got out of control. So this is just an example of how tumultuous the trading market can be. The truth is, the last 1 month's worth of trading has been very difficult to trade. I would say my average trading lately has been more like 70-80% versus 80 to 90 on average, right? And again, it's mostly just my entry targets and my take profit targets. I use good ranges in most cases to do well, but the market has been sending a lot of curveballs lately. As soon as you confirm a trade, it goes the opposite direction. So just be mindful, we're in a very precarious situation and less is more. Try not to trade too much. Try just to learn as much as you can, write things down and figure it out for yourself. I hope you have a good one. I'm sorry. There we go again. Have a good rest of your day. I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord here. It's all available for you there. All right, folks. Have a good one. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.